Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I needed to get some multi-purpose compost for, I've got some bonsai to repot. So I had to go out and get this because one of those bonsai is becoming an urgent repot because the buds are starting to break. If the leaves start to open to any extent, then repotting them at that time could actually lose those leaves and the plant would have to start again. So it was quite important to go and get this. I went to the local, well, this came from a DIY place because it's half the price of the garden centre for the same stuff. So I went there. Of course I got there and I thought, hang on, I've got a bad back. But you can always get help. Places like that, they will always lift for you right to the car. When you get home, you're on your own. But I always look at it like this. If somebody else can get it in the car, it's easy enough to get it out because you're not lifting it up off the floor. Anyway, it wasn't quite as heavy as I thought, and I managed to get that in the car, get it out of the car and bring it in here. So why am I talking about my bonsai stuff on the gardening bit of the channel? Well, you know what it's like when you get somewhere, you start looking, don't you? Instead of going straight to the place that's got what you went for, you start looking around, don't you? Oh dear. We've been buying. These were reasonable deals and I think they were worth getting while I was there. Save, you know. So what have we got then? What we've got is 3 foxgloves on an offer of, instead of £4 each, they're 3 for 10 quid. For that size plant that will bloom this year, I think that's a really good price. Unknown colours, yeah? But the important thing is, these are not the wild foxgloves. Flowers year after year, so they are hybrids. Well, it basically, they will flower. Now I've had foxgloves round the old place in a tub and they've just flowered year after year after year. They even came round here but the heat wave killed them. Now I got quite a few foxgloves from Carol in those boxes of plants from last year, but quite a few of them have actually died. Now, I don't think they've died back to the ground and will come out again. Foxgloves don't work like that. So those that I can still see above ground have survived. And they were the ones that weren't in that baking sun, in that heat wave. It wasn't a good time of year to plant plants. But we gave it a go. Some survived, some didn't. So these will fill in the gaps where the ones didn't survive. So I know exactly where they're going to go. Now these are all pretty good plants, given the price. If you look at the plant, that plant has 2 distinct crowns. That could be split into 2 separate plants for a start, to spread them out a bit, which I may do. But there's also a little one there. So it's effectively 3 plants in that pot, 2 of which will flower. This one, same again. 2 good crowns there, so 2 effective flower spikes on that, and probably the same on the third one. Yep, and the third one's got a little plant to the side as well. So effectively, if I wanted to split those, that's at least 6 plants. So you don't get to choose the colours, that's the thing. So they could be anything from white through to the deep purple colour. The prize with foxglove mixes is to get a yellow one. They're like hen's teeth, they are, yellow foxgloves. They do exist, but yeah, they don't come up often. And then these, I love the winter flowering hardy cyclamen. I've always really liked these. Round the other place I had a few absolutely enormous corms that came up every year. Those that I had round the other house, the flowers came first. So you had the flowers came out from the ground with no sign of any leaves, and then the leaves came out later. And the leaves have lovely silvery patterns on them. Now these are dwarf ones, these are not large flowered ones, these are little dwarf ones. And I'm going to tuck them in on the end by the where the hellebores are, so that they don't get any sun. These are shade lovers basically. So yeah, there's 6 there, again for £10. So a bargain, I thought. There could even be more than one corm in here. It depends how they planted them up. But they'll just stay in their little sections and get planted as they are. Yes, so the first new plants of 2024 to go in the ground. We did plant some ferns earlier, but they weren't new plants. They were plants that lived in the grow room for quite some time, but had spent a winter and a summer outside, so were obviously hardy, but they weren't new as such. These are new plants, new in. So at some point we will get these in the ground, but at the moment they just need to go outside. They can't stay in here, it's far too warm. So we'll get these outside, and we will get them in the ground at some point down the line. I'm not saying when, because I'm busy doing things, and it's lots of little things, no big jobs as such, apart from this bonsai repot that I went out to get this for. I thought I had everything, but you know how you picture something. I pictured the shed, and inside the shed was a big bag of compost, a bag that's only a third full of ericaceous compost, and a bag of grit. So I thought, well, I've got what I need. I went out in the shed this morning to get stuff ready to do the repot, and the bag of compost was actually empty. And I remembered then that we used that in the garden tubs. When Hannah and I planted up the herbs and the plants in the garden tubs last year, we used the last of the bag of compost. So I had to whiz out and get another one. But as a consequence, we got some new plants as well. So a sort of 2 for 1. And that wasn't heavy enough to do any damage to my back. So that's still got to go down in the shed, but we'll worry about that at some other time. The repot of the bonsai that I was going to do today is now going to be tomorrow. I've got a bit of watering to do in here, a few orchids to do. Basically, I've got the phalaenopsis to do in the kitchen. The cymbidiums can wait till tomorrow as well. There's not many of them. They only take 10-15 minutes. It takes longer mixing up the feed than it does using it. So I haven't got much to do tomorrow, so we'll get that repot done tomorrow now that I've got the stuff. And I'll think about when these plants are going to go in the ground. I'd like to wait for Hannah because she loves helping in the garden, but she's not down for some time because it's not worth her coming down in between now and the Mathers trip, which is the beginning of April. It's the weekend after Easter, basically. And it's not worth her coming down before. If that Mathers trip wasn't there, she probably would have come down for the long weekend at Easter and, you know, stayed for the Monday as well. But it's not worth coming down 2 weekends on the trot. You know, she's got her own stuff to do as well as helping me with bits and pieces. So we shall see her for that weekend. And yeah, I'm pleased that although I've got a nice lot of plants, and Carol did absolute wonders sending the variety and the number of plants to fill up parts of the garden and everything. Some I got myself and planted up. But slowly but surely this planted border out here will fill until such time as there'll be hardly any soil showing at all. It'll all be plants. And it will come into bloom at various times of year. So there'll always be some colour there, even in winter. These are winter flowering. They can start as early as November, but normally sort of December time, and through right through till March, even April, some of them. So we'll see how they go. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by. I can't wait to see what colour these foxgloves are. The ones that Carol sent were they're our native foxglove. They're wild ones. Strictly speaking, they are biennials. So the seeds grow in year 1 into reasonable plants. In year 2, the plants push on and flower and set the seed to start the cycle again. But the hybrids can just carry on blooming. They just grow new plants from the base. So we'll see how we go. But as I said, with this selection, I didn't get to choose the colours. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? I don't know whether there's an indication. I doubt it. Cut back after flowering to encourage new growth. Yeah, we'll see what colours we get. Be nice. I suspect, knowing my luck, all three will be the same, but we'll see. But we'll have to wait for that. That's, you know, more later in the year. Late spring, early summer foxgloves normally, so we'll see how we go. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.